While we're waiting for the president to walk into this room, let's bring in Guy Benson, the host of The Guy Benson Show and a Fox News political analyst. Guy, thanks for being with us here today. It's a big moment. It's a shift. It's a shift from what's been done so far in his presidency to what will be the sales pitch for the continuation of Republican power in Washington, D.C. What do you think will mark that shift?
Well, I think a lot of it depends on how voters are actually feeling, Will, because if you look at the numbers and the stats on the economy, on crime, on drug overdoses, on any number of fronts, I think this administration has a pretty strong story to tell, and so do Republicans in Congress. And I think that story is going to get stronger as the big, beautiful law kicks in this year, especially on the tax side. But polling continues to show that voters aren't really feeling that yet themselves. There's a lot of angst out there and uncertainty. And until that, or if that kicks in, I think the Democrats certainly have an advantage heading into November. What I'm curious to see is, let's say people 6 months from now wake up and start to say, okay, actually the promises that were made to me overall have been kept, and I am feeling better about my personal economy and the state of the country. A lot of the stories that the Democrats have told now for months will go by the wayside. That's one of the risks that they're running by going hardcore resistance, insisting none of this is working. Some of it is working, as the outcomes themselves, I think, so far are demonstrating.
It was interesting to see the president in this room, in this restaurant in Iowa, back in his element, back on the campaign trail. But you point out something important, and that is, how do you discern the difference between perception and reality? That polling suggests there are a lot of people who are very, very concerned about the state of the economy. On the objective metrics of reality, inflation is down. We're still suffering from the higher rates of inflation that are baked in over the past 4 years, but the rate of inflation has definitely gone down. That's objective. Go to the gas pump. Every viewer, every American can see the price of gas. But you still have to your point, tell the story. And I think that's what this is about, Guy. I think that's the reason he's here in Iowa.
Yeah, and the thing is, Will, and you know this very well, in politics, often perception is reality. And if you're trying to argue against the perception that people are feeling, that's usually a losing proposition. But that doesn't mean you disarm in the argument. You have to move forward and say, actually, here's why things are getting better. And if those messages then align with the experiences that people are having, that is the sweet spot, I think, for the party in power, in this case, the Republicans moving forward. And I think you were right to point out the significance of Iowa. Republicans have done very well in the Hawkeye State in recent years. They've swept a bunch of these statewide races. They've got a big Senate race, actually, in Iowa this year, and a fantastic Republican in Ashley Hinson running there. Nothing should be taken for granted. We know that the Democrats might end up putting some money in on the Senate side there. There are some House races that have been as thin as you can imagine in Iowa. And I think going straight to the heartland, where presidential politics begin, and say, this is how our project is working for the people in this state, and then moving out from there, I think that's part of the strategy. And we've heard from Susie Wiles, the chief of staff. She has said this president is ready to campaign aggressively and actively as if he is on the ballot in 2026 in this midterm cycle. Whether that works or not in bringing his voters out, we'll see. But that's the posture here, and this seems to be unofficially the kickoff.
All right, I am live right now from Iowa, the Machine Shed restaurant, where we're waiting for the President of the United States to walk in at any moment. He was just in a room on the other side of this restaurant, speaking to voters, starting to share his message. A little bit later, he will be taking the stage here in Iowa. We will directly speak to voters and officially kick off the midterm elections. But one of the things, Guy, that I anticipate we will have to talk about with the president is Minnesota, is immigration. And I think this is another story that exists within this perception versus reality dynamic. Voters say, in almost every poll, Guy, they want our democratically voted upon illegal immigration laws enforced. And yet, when those laws are enforced, there is this sense that we don't like to see what enforcement looks like. Now, there's a propaganda war about what takes place on the streets of Minneapolis and St. Paul. Not everything has gone well. That is quite obvious. And we'll speak to the president about the rough events over the weekend. But you have to be able to tell the story and make I think, honestly, Guy, the voter has to make up their minds. Do they like the idea of our democratically elected laws only in theory, or do they want to see them applied? And application means something on the streets of America.
Yeah, and I think that propaganda war, there was a sense in the White House that maybe it was slipping away from the president, from the administration, because of recent events in Minneapolis. Hence the change that we've seen at the top of the leadership at DHS, at least vis-a-vis Minnesota, with Tom Homan coming in. I think that's a needed change that has been made by the president, who recognized that perception shifting in a way that is not helpful to the overall project that he ran on. Right, he ran aggressively on mass deportations, starting with criminal aliens. Last year, in his first year in office of this term, 70% of ICE arrests per government data were people with criminal histories in the country. That's a very high percentage and a good batting average. But when you see ugly scenes out in the street, you have to figure out, how do we turn this narrative back around? And I think part of it is what Mr. Homan himself has floated a few times, which is to say, you know what, let's focus on those criminals. Let's get rid of, or at least really tamp down, the sanctuary policies, which necessitate, these street operations that are chaotic and made more so by these almost militias that the left is running in the streets of Minneapolis. If you can obviate the need for all those street operations by simply cooperating at the state and local level, where criminal aliens, illegal aliens, are handed off behind bars in an orderly fashion to the feds, then the feds can say, fine, if you'll play ball on that and back off of this lunacy of sanctuary policy, we will back off when it comes to these street operations, and we will draw down our footprint. That, to me, is the obvious compromise that should be agreed to on all sides, and I hope the Democrats in Minnesota are willing to say yes.
All right, Guy Benson, the host of the Guy Benson Show on the Fox News radio channel. Thanks for being with us here today, Guy.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.